Hey everybody, Tony Zayas joined by Andy Halko, and today we're going to take a look at a really cool BuyerTwin feature. And this one is on the content side. So content sometimes can be challenging to continue to figure out good topics to write about and whatnot. So Andy, you ever see a competitor or somebody else that has an article that you're like, I wish we could have done something like that? Well, today's feature, you want to show us how we can figure that
Yeah.
out?
Yeah, this is a great way to just kickstart creating a piece of content. The way that I do it is if I'm looking to talk about a topic, as an example for today, I'm thinking of writing an article around answer engine optimization, where you optimize for answer engines. And I went out and just did a Google search on articles, and found one that was pretty good. And so, what we have here is this Content Explorer. And what you can easily do is come in and put a URL of anything. And I found an article by Search Engine Land on answer engine optimization. And I can now analyze this article. And what it does is it's pulling it in and it's basically breaking it into various pieces that we can now leverage for our own content. And it'll really look at things like what are the key points, what are statistics that it uses within the article. It actually gives you contrary points that against what they are saying in the article if you want to take a different viewpoint. And so it really just breaks all of this down for you. Um, and so now you can see key ideas here where we've got AI powered search engines, traditional SEO remains foundational, inclusion in AI answer responses closely tied to high organic rankings. Then we look at unique points. So this is pulling out what unique points it had in the article. Perplexity's AI strict citation first approach forces it only to present information, whatever it might be. We've got content gaps. What are areas in this article that they didn't touch on? What are some alternative viewpoints? And then what are actionable takeaways that the article gave? And then what are some statistics that they actually used in the article? So you've pulled all this out, and now what you can do is build your own content piece based off of a lot of this. And so let's say we want to do something Google AI overviews in AI mode. Maybe I really want to focus on Google and Gemini. Personalization is increasing with Gemini. Google's Gemini. So I really want to focus my article on Google. And I'm just kind of quickly going through here. Obviously, you can really go through this in depth. Let's see. I want to optimize content, and then 46% of Google's AI overview. Google holds about 87%. Gemini. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And so I've selected a few of these. And now what I can do is either develop article ideas, or it will actually give me multiple ideas for different articles based off this information, or I can go straight into creating a brief for this to develop one single article. So I'm going to go ahead and do the brief and have it pull over. And so now what it's done is it's actually given me an article concept based off of everything that we just put together. And so now I can create my article brief here in BuyerTwin, which actually gives us this really great information like title, what does the audience want to get out of the article, what is a unique perspective or opinion that we can have in writing this article, what's our summary, and then what are key phrases that we want to make sure that we use. And so now you see that I've got a title, How Google's AI Overviews and Gemini Are Upending Search and What It Means for Brands. The need, digital marketers and brand strategists urgently want to understand how Google's new AI-powered search features are reshaping visibility. Our unique position is going to be the rise of Google AI overviews, and Gemini marks the end of traditional SEO as we know it. So it's creating a position of strength there. And then we've got summary points. We can change any of this information, whether we think it hits on the head or we want to add or adapt. Then we can come into personalization. This is an area that we've talked about before, but it makes sure that the content really has a human flavor. And so you just have to answer one of these. And so share a big win or success related to this topic. Recently, we have seen 5 to 6 leads a month from AI overviews. And so now that I've done that, it says I can move to my outline. And so the next thing that we're doing is we actually generate this outline. And this is another key step that makes the BuyerTwin content creation so powerful, is that instead of just writing an article, it's now thinking about the narrative and it's thinking about the structure. And it's really focused now on just understanding this is how we want to tell the story within an article, and then developing some of these key points. And so you can start to see that it's got data in here that we selected earlier. And then it really walks through each of these pieces. And so now what we can do is we can actually select a tone. I'm going to go to my favorite one that I always do, smart and subversive, which is a little bit more out there and fun. And now I draft. And so the key here is that our system really looked at the brief, what is our target audience and what did they want out of it? And it's using that information right now. Then it developed an outline, which it really said, hey, let's organize this correctly. And then it drafts each of the outline sections as its own piece, but understanding the overall picture. And this produces really valuable content because it's using all of that context that we've had. And now it's written this article. So I'm just going to go over to the preview here and just look at how Google's AI overviews and Gemini are upending search, what it means for brands. I did my fun, smart, and subversive. And so we've got when the algorithm knows you better than your mama, visibility gets tricky. And so picture this, you open Google looking for best pizza near me. Used to be you get a list of old school blue links, each promising a little slice of truth. Maybe you'd click that Yelp review, or maybe you just trust your gut and pick the spot with the name Tony's Original Authentic Real Pizza. Maybe that's you, Tony, even though Tony's been a ghost in the kitchen since 2021. But now, thanks to Gemini Overviews, doesn't just hand you a menu, it serves up an answer. One that knows you watched 5 hours of vegan recipe videos last week and still couldn't pronounce the nutritional yeast. The search engine isn't just searching anymore, it's synthesizing. And so you can really see that it's now created an article that's pretty fun. When Google's AI plays jazz, your old SEO sheet music won't help. When search knows you better than your mama, Gemini, and the disappearing SERP. So obviously we got this fun article. And if we want to go back and do something that's maybe a little less crazy, we can always choose actionable and concise. I'm going to rewrite the article. And now we can actually get a completely different voice. And we have both of those available to analyze and understand. And so now it's pulling together that other one. Really cool. So now let's see what we got with actionable and concise. When the map changes, so must your compass. Frameworks for navigating Google's AI search shift. And you can see this one gets a little bit more, instead of a narrative, into bullet list, the library versus the librarian, the surface area principle, the relevance flywheel. So really different viewpoint on the article. But all of these different tones, and we've got about 30 of them, really bring some unique perspectives to anything that you're writing. And so now within a few minutes, we have taken an article that we found out there that we liked. We grabbed a couple of the key points from it that we thought were powerful for an angle that we wanted. We then did our brief and our drafting and our outline, and we've got something that is a completely different article than what we started with, because this one's just about Google, but a lot less of the brain power of having to come up with all of this stuff on our own.
Yeah, so this came about because you were out of ideas, let's say, and you found an article out there that you liked. And so with that, like, really quick, powerful article. So very
Yeah,
cool demonstration.
for sure. I think for folks that are, just looking to ramp up their content creation, not only can it be a lot easier to find topics, but now it's 10 million times easier to create really valuable, useful, engaging content that you can use pretty right out of the gate from this platform.
Yes, if you want to try out the Content Explorer or the content writing tool here in BuyerTwin, we do have a 14-day, $14 trial. Go check it out, BuyerTwin.com, and we will see you in our next video. Take care, everybody.